The voiceover doctor presents Margaritas, Mojitos, and Microfones. Viva el voiceover doctor.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce Mr. Robbie Rist and Mr. Richard Horvitz. Richard Horvitz, ladies and gentlemen. Richard Horvitz. No, Richard, it's just beginning. It's starting now. Yeah, it's starting now.
My bad.
I don't know why. I don't know why. Come on over and have a seat.
So, do you know why you say everything you say?
Yeah, I looked at the directions and what's happening, in...
So, one of the things that I teach people, just so you know where I come from, is that a lot of people try to act the breakdown.
Oh, yeah.
So they make the breakdown more important than the story.
Yeah.
So sometimes they give you all this description in your breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
She is frequently kind and suddenly cruel, generous to a fault. She's boisterous, annoys, all these things. And then they'll give you just like a paragraph. And most people will try to be everything in the breakdown. They'll try to put all the things in the breakdown in that one paragraph. So you're usually going to take like this.
Yeah.
But, as I've said to my students who have worked with me, have you been happy in your life?
Yes.
Have you been loving in your life?
Yes.
Have you been mad in your life?
Yes.
Have you been giving in your life?
Have I been what?
Giving.
Giving, yes.
Generous.
Yes.
Hateful.
Yes.
Good. Are you showing all of those sides of your personality to me right now?
We could find some more levels.
You're not showing those to me right now because you're showing me what's appropriate to the situation you're in.
Yeah.
So we only need to focus on what is in front of us in our words more than what the breakdown says. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Here's the thing. You have to see the guy in your head who you are. Do you look like Henry Fonda on Golden
I was
Pond?
like Walter Matthau. In
Okay, well, but okay,
Robbie
if Walter Matthau is your guy in your head, try to approach Walter Matthau in the way you can use your hands. You can. The thing is, it doesn't matter what you do to get there, but the thing is, you have to see the spaceship.
Okay.
You have to see who the guy is, where you are. Pick a location. So, but the energy's all really great between you guys, and these are all things when you're reading copy. How well do these people know each other? Well, they know each other well enough that the kid feels comfortable enough to kind of go, I don't want to do this with you. Mm-hmm. Do you know what it's like there's a close enough relationship that they can be this open with each other. And these are questions that you need to kind of look for in the copy.
I don't like you at all. You didn't like her then, and you don't like her in the beginning. Right?
Yeah.
So the first thing you try to do is get her to try to eat these things, so she chokes and dies. Then she falls on her head, and you don't help her. And then you just flat out tell her you don't like her at all. Right? Mm-hmm. From the top. Ready? Go.
You know what? I have something really important to tell you. Princess Glittertail's dookies are gumdrops. That wasn't very nice. In fact, I think it was mean. I think you're a great big man, and I don't like you at all.
Was that more fun? Yeah, right? Get a shot of that.
Sometimes, you have to be doing dialogue, and let's say you're running across a desert. Well, the thing is, you gotta have to physicalize it a little bit, because there's no way that if you're doing it this way that you sound like anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So you physicalize it as much as you can up until someone says, "You're off mic, douchebag."
Excellent work. I am Zim.
So, So, did you enjoy yourselves? Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, actually, what the heck? Why'd you guys fall in love with this? I mean, you told us and it was fun, but why else? Because it's more than just fun.
Voiceover?
Yeah.
Well, for me, I loved it because you can make a lot of money in a lot less time.
True.
First and foremost. I mean, people ask me, why did you get into this? And like, for me, it was, I didn't know anything about voiceover. I was an on-camera actor up until like the mid-'80s when like I had done a ton of teen films. It started like Robbie when we were kids, and by the time I hit my mid-20s, my on-camera career sort of like kind of petered out. And someone said, why don't you get into voiceover? I knew nothing about voiceover. I was literally completely, I didn't even know about voiceover as a career. And when I got into voiceover, I was at a commercial agency at the time, and they shared an agency with an agent named Sandy Schnarr, who's now AVO. And I went over from my commercial agent, I went over to my voiceover department. I said, hey, I want to be a voiceover actor. She said, okay, you need to get a demo made. So I went and I saw Nick O'Mana, and I got a reel-to-reel tape 30 years ago or more now. And my first month that I was signed with Sandy, I booked 3 radio spots. My first one was a role that all I said was for Chevy was, bye, Dad. That was it. So I said to her, all I say is bye, Dad. And she said, relax, honey. You make as much as the announcer that's got, 3 paragraphs. I'm like, oh, okay. I was so naive that I thought to myself, wow, at the time it was $175 per spot per cycle, which means for 13 weeks they had it for $175. I said, wow, if I do 5 of these a day, 5 days a week.
Yeah.
Who needs on camera?
Exactly. That's good money.
Those 3 spots were the last time I worked that year. Those 3 radio spots. I didn't even break into animation for 5 years. 5 years. And the very first job I ever did was a thing called Prince Valiant with Robbie Benson, Rob Paulson, and Charlie Adler. And I had never done an animated gig in my life. Really, I mean, I thought Scooby-Doo was Scooby-Doo when I was growing up, And when I got to this section, they were all at the mic, standing up, doing this. Especially Charlie Adler. Like, I'm saying, like, what freaks? You're at a microphone. What the, right? I never sat down again. From that day forward, I stand up to record everything now because they taught me you gotta move. It's like you're on stage. It's like you're on the playground. And that's what I've always thought, is I'm on the playground. So if you ask me why voiceover for me, because I excel at it and I don't have to worry about what I look like. I don't have to worry about my body size. I don't have to worry about the things I heard on camera.
Richard, you have a great body.
I think so. I've always been attracted to it.
Thank you. I am masculine. I didn't have to worry about sounding like I looked. And that's what happens in on camera. Is like, yeah, he just doesn't sound like he looks. So I spent like 2 years learning to talk like this, like Billy's dad from Billy and Mandy.
Right.
But it wasn't me. And so there's nothing worse than feeling inauthentic. In voiceover, I can play and feel totally unencumbered. And that's why I do it. And that because I make good money.
Cool.
Well, I started, when I was really young, so my reasons for doing art in the first place weren't financially motivated. Mostly I was putting on plays for the cat. and I bitched my parents into becoming an actor. And then when voiceover started happening, what really appealed to me was because it isn't about what you look like, there was precious little ego involved. Even jerks like Charlie Adler, who's actually a really super sweet guy.
Yeah, no, I know. That's why we're all giggling over here. Yeah. We know you're fucking with us.
But the thing is, Charlie also is, completely like
Insane.
yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. But the thing is, I never ran in, and for me more than anything, and it doesn't happen as often now anymore because all the audition places went away. But there was a period in history where they'd be casting 2 or 3 spots out of one place, and the demographic would be all over the place. So it would be us 30-year-old people, like it was at the time, and then it would be a bunch of women in their 40s or 50s, like Miriam Flynn and people like that, and then and then there's Kenneth Mars, and then all of us, and then there's Bob Ridgely, and then people are telling stories in the lobby.
Look up the names.
Yeah.
Are you dropping names?
Yeah, he is.
The funny thing is, the names that I'm dropping, nobody knows who they are.
Nobody knows.
It's like, yeah, boy, I love Nick Gilder.
Hot child
So-
in the city, running wild and looking pretty. Where's Tyler? When
Nah, well, he's working. He's working.
But for me, it was an environment where everybody was just there to play.
Yeah.
And the play wasn't just in the booth. We showed up, and it was a way of kind of, I don't know, getting our game face on, you know, and everybody would just I mean, there was this guy, Bob Ridgely, you gotta look him up. Bob was born with no internal editing device.
We are filming this.
He was born with no internal editing device and said some of the most ribaldly, amazingly hilarious stuff I've ever encountered in my life.
Incredibly offensive.
Yeah.
In fact, when Bob Ridgely passed away, his memorial service was the biggest ticket in town.
It was the juiciest.
You guys know Blazing Saddles? You know Blazing Saddles?
Yeah.
Remember the hangman?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't possibly fit him in today. That's Bob Ridgely. So he's very good
He's
friends
also
with
the
Mel
colonel.
Brooks and
He's
Ronnie
the colonel
Shell
of
and-
Boogie Nights.
Yeah.
Yes. One
Yeah.
goes to jail.
Yeah, and he's in Philadelphia. I mean, also,
Yeah.
he was this unbelievably brilliant actor.
Yeah.
But he also had no internal editing device.
Yes.
Which to me was like, anytime I saw Bob on a gig, I'm like, Bob, come talk to me. You know, I would just have to say a word like, Bob, tell me of lotion. And that was 20 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for that's what I actually what I you know, the Jones for me has always been creativity, and here's an environment where it doesn't matter who I mean, Frank Welker does animals. That's his.
You mean voices?
Voices,
Animal
animals.
sounds.
Yeah, he makes-
Animal sounds.
He makes the voices.
He makes the voices.
I was
We're on TV
All I
here.
saw was an animal going.
I was very. I thought I was still talking about Bob
sorry.
Ridgely. Hey, Bo.
Hey, guys! Great bartending tonight.
Yes.
I was phoning it in. Absolutely.
So anyway, yeah, it's you can be anybody, and because of that, there's no ego involved. It's not like, you know, it's not Desperate Housewives where it's sort of like her trailer's bigger than. There's no trailers. No one cares.
His microphone's bigger than
Yeah,
mine.
either you
I have
show up.
microphone envy.
Either you show up and do it. Either you show up and do it, and you're as good as everybody else, or you just don't work, and that's.
Well, I mean, you know, my whole thing about voiceover is because I've done a lot of on camera and everything. We've all done commercials and whatnot. What keeps me involved in voiceover is you have to be good to make a living at this. You got to be a good actor, and it's like what Robbie's saying. It's that creative process, you know. And if you're booking stuff every now and then, you know that you still got it. You still are kind of, because you go in for a commercial on camera, and if you have a certain look. It doesn't matter if you have talent or not, you can still book the job. But with voiceover, to book the job, you you're beating these guys up.
Got
you
no
know?
bill.
Huh?
Got no bill.
Bill who?
Bill Applebaum? No, I'm just saying, it is that creative process. And again, tonight you guys have had the luxury of being with two of the most creative people I've worked with, and that's why, I mean, and that's why we're all friends. And you know what Robbie was talking about, I've worked as a director for 12 years at the Voicecaster. And then,
That's
you know,
where we
back-
met.
Yeah, and back in the day, it was just Party Central, because all day, every day, we had 4 rooms going for casting sessions.
Yeah.
And for me, it was
Yeah.
all of my friends were coming to see me
yeah.
every day. So
that
he would
is-
walk in for half an hour, Robbie would walk in and we'd shoot the shit, and we're having a good time, and I'm thinking, man, they're paying me for this. And I get to yak and tell people what to do.
That is one of the things I think is that's done the most disservice to this industry and the way we started was because of home studios. Part of our success in our bookings and stuff were the fact that we'd see each other like every other day.
Yeah.
And we'd be at the voice caster or we'd be at the agency.
Well, because we were at Sandy
Because
Schnarr
we were at
together,
Sandy
too.
Schnarr together, and we would laugh, and we would get our game on. We,
Yeah.
You know, we'd be up to play.
Yeah.
Whereas now, it's like we get up and we're in our bathrobe at 10 in the morning, and oh crap, that's due by 11. I'm gonna go in the booth.
It's due by
I'm gonna
11,
go.
yeah.
Oh crap.
Yeah.
And so then
Actually,
you're
Richard,
yeah.
all of my
Yeah.
MP3s
Yeah.
done completely new.
New, exactly. Yes, but I don't understand why you submit a picture with your.
Oh no, I understand why.
Yeah, it's a bad-
Yeah,
Richard,
I just think
Richard,
yeah.
some things just for me.
I just think that that's one of the things that has, to me, is part of the thing of voiceover that's gone downhill for me is that I used to love getting out and seeing Robbie at reads at the Voice Caster or Carol Casting or something, and we'd laugh, and it was our job. We were out there, we were playing, we were competing.
Well, I mean, you've seen us tonight, the 3 of us tonight.
Right,
You know.
right.
I mean, when I said to Richard and Robbie, hey, let's do a margarita night, I was excited that these guys were coming here tonight because it's a fun time, man. It's
Yeah.
a fun time.
Yeah.
But that's what this should be all the time. For all of you
Yeah.
guys out there, that's what it should be. It should always be a good time. Because if it becomes a job, like what he was saying, it's like, fuck, it's due at 11, you know. When it becomes that, your creativity is getting stifled a bit. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
and think about with the operative word that, you go see a play. Only if it's very serious do you go see a work. You know what I mean? But I mean that's the thing. Oh, you play improv games. The whole thing is about staying in as much touch with that childlike part of you as possible. That part of you that is in the rocket ship. That part of you that's in the castle.
That
That's
part of you that was beaten by your parents until you
Sure,
owned
sure.
it.
Yeah, no.
Sorry.
Yeah, the emotionally remote father.
He's never around. He's never around. Never around.
Right,
I
you
loved
love
my
me.
parents. Mom, Dad, I loved you. I loved you.
I loved you too, parents.
I love you.
I loved his parents a lot. Mine just died. So.
Oh yeah. Oh, mine have been gone for years. Don't worry about it. That's why I can say this now.
It's so real.
But
And
it was,
oh,
yeah,
go ahead.
I would just
No,
say
no,
this, that, but the part that still survives that Rob was just talking about in terms of the kid, is that even though you get up at 11 in the morning, if it's something you're really excited about and you get in that booth, it takes you a while, but once you start playing, you're playing and you're like, yeah, I like that take, I'm gonna submit that. I just miss the camaraderie of seeing
Yeah, I do
everyone
too.
on a regular basis.
Well, there's so many of us nowadays. I mean, we have 18 of us or 20 of us in this room,
And we're
but there's
cool.
hundreds more, thousands more across this freaking country.
Well, it was weird when it got discovered.
Yeah.
It was weird because when I first
Kind of like comedy in the 80s.
Right. That's
when I first started doing voiceover, I think 125 people did everything.
Yeah.
And,
That's right.
And then, I don't know, sometime in the middle 90s, I started hearing about people going, I've heard about this voiceover thing. Oh, what is it, Gene Hackman? He's a Oscar-winning actor. Really? I mean, do you have to put in a deck out back?
Stay out of it.
Yeah.
Well, that's actually an interesting story because I have a good friend back in Chicago. His name is Chelsea Ross.
I know Marlon Brando.
And no.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Chelsea Ross was the voice of United Airlines and Heinz Ketchup at the time.
And
These huge
Marlon Brando.
accounts. And Chelsea, if you ever watch the movie Hoosiers, okay?
Yeah.
Chelsea is the tall, thin guy that wanted to be the coach, okay? But then Gene Hackman came in and he was the coach, and then Chelsea's character resented him throughout the film. Well, Chelsea and Gene Hackman were sitting, and he's the one who said, hey, have you ever thought about doing this voiceover thing? And then of course, I don't know what happened, but then Gene Hackman was the voice of United Airlines. I don't know if Chelsea lost that because of that or not.
Well, just like in the movie.
Yeah. It's art imitating life. So that was kind of
You
interesting.
said something that I don't remember.
Although I probably said a lot of things
I know, but I mean tonight, just a minute ago, I don't remember that made me think
that
of
were
something.
playing, that were...
Your name is Richard.
Yes, that I remember.
Okay. Did anybody else have a question?
There we go. To go from where you were now, because I'm going to continue the conversation, for when you were the Camaraderie, where you were at before, to where now where it's, I mean, there's all of us in the same room. I mean, I've met a lot of people that are going through the same exact auditions. If I get a Toyota audition, I'm meeting 10 other people that same day. They're doing the same audition. And plus, there's, you get the side that says nationwide, that there's everyone else in the country going for the exact same commercial.
Oh, no, it went from 20 people going up for an audition
That's it.
to 500.
Right.
I mean, but it's just like everything else, just like, Monster sending out, resumes,
Right.
whatever.
Yes, I just remembered before I forget. What Robbie was saying earlier was that I knew Marlon Brando. When I first got into voiceover, there was this famous saying, there's only 10 people doing all of voiceover. It's Charlie Adler, Rob Paulson, Maurice LaMarche, Katsu C. There's only 10 people. I chose not to believe that. I just chose not to believe it. And it just so happens that my belief coincided with a thing called cable. And what I discovered was, it wasn't that there was just 10 people doing everything. It was that there were 3 casting directors in
Only
animation
hiring those
that was
people.
casting everything. So if I'm a casting director that has a session in the morning, and I have a session in the afternoon, and I've already got Robbie in the morning, and I know I've got this other gig, I'm just going to keep Robbie around, and I'm going to use him. And it wasn't because Robbie didn't deserve it, but it was because it was easy as a casting director when there's only 3 of them.
Well, I mean, Robbie didn't deserve it, but
He did, yes.
and still doesn't.
But you know what I'm talking about. There was like, when we first got into animation, there was only 3 or 4.
Well, I'm fond of saying that casting directors don't want to think. Casting directors will hire, or they'll call in the
People
person
they
who
know
worked
that
for
are
them
gonna-
last
yeah,
time. They're like,
exactly.
look, this guy gives you what you want, just go with him.
Yeah.
Well, you have to understand, as somebody who has worked in those offices a lot, their job, I mean, I would say they're more insecure than actors and a little more insecure than agents, because their jobs depends on you guys being great,
Yeah.
okay? Their job depends on it. So if they're calling in people that are just kind of mediocre, it's not as good as if, hey, I know this guy's gonna deliver, I know this guy's gonna deliver. I'm gonna call those guys in as often as possible because they're great and they're gonna deliver. I mean, when you work with the likes of Richard and Robbie and Maurice LaMarche and Rob Paulson and Katsu C and
Bob Bergen.
Bob Bergen, and
Rob Paulson.
I'm going for gals here. Gray
gals.
Delisle, now
Tara Strong.
Griffin, yeah. People like that, Jennifer Hale.
E.G. Daly.
When you work with those people, you'll...
Shelley Winters.
I got 2 Oscars.
I knew Marlon Brando.
You'll notice though that when you're, like, when we all get in a room together, it's easy. It becomes really easy because you're with these guys. You know what I mean?
And it's easy.
But also, one of the advantages to how it is now is we started at a time when there were only 3 networks. And so there was a significantly smaller market
Right.
of that sort of stuff being made. You know, you had Saturday morning, a couple of nighttime cartoon shows, but largely it was in a much more limited sort of, landscape.
Right.
Now,
Cable
between,
exploded.
there's Cartoon Network, there's,
Cable
Fox.
streaming.
What?
Yeah.
Cable
Yeah, cable streaming. I mean, there are more
Netflix,
opportunities, or there are a lot there are more opportunities for work, even though there's more people doing it.
Right.
So it might actually at this point be kind of the same odds, no matter no matter how it goes.
Yes.
I guess that my next question would be, realistically, then what do you think about everyone that's involved and want to do voiceover? What is the realism of them actually doing that?
Oh,
It
slim
depends on them, some of them.
I'd actually quit. I just teach.
Oh, there we go.
I would say 18% of the people are working all the time.
Right.
So just there's your odds. I mean,
Right.
think about union actors,
And also, it doesn't mean that anybody else can't work. Because I think ultimately what it is it's like H. John Benjamin. You find your thing that you do. You find the thing that is saleable about what your voice does, and then you market the living crap out of it.
Right.
This is true. People have said to me many times, and have said to my agent, well, he works because he has a distinctive voice, but that actually can be a hindrance to have a distinctive voice. And because of the way I teach, and those of you who know my 5 steps, and the way that I work, and the way I believe is that, you follow Robert De Niro or Meryl Streep into their stories, knowing that it's Meryl Streep and Robert De Niro in the beginning. But once they go into their stories, you follow them into their characters and in their stories. So why should that be any different because you're doing it with your voice? I mean, anyone who knows any of my characters knows that it's me because I do have a distinctive voice. Yet, Billy is very different than Zim. Zim is very different than Alpha or Daggett or any of those other ones. Yet you know it's me. You know Robbie's voice. You know Bill's voice. But if your stories are real for you,
But wait, who's Bill?
Yeah.
he's the guy that told you to move your Prius that's parked in the
We'll get to that phone up now. I can't park there.
Throne over there. We'll get to that.
Okay.
Move your camera.
Yeah. So I think that to answer your question, like what's the ratio? Bill has an 18% thing. I don't presume to know the answer to that question. But what I will say this is that you just have to keep playing.
Yeah, and getting a job in art is tough, no matter what.
Right.
It's just you want to be a novelist, it's gonna be tough.
Yeah.
You wanna be a sculptor, it's gonna be tough.
I had a mentor that used to say to me, you have to, she would say to all of us, she would say, if you never made a dime at this, would you continue to do it? Yeah, would you continue to do it? That's your answer.
I mean, art in general.
And we're living proof that we do that.
Art in general is a little like the priesthood.
Yeah, you do.
You know, it's true. Either it pulls you in or it doesn't, and you can't. I'm not giving up masturbation for anything.
That voiceover masturbation link actually helps.
Sure. Yeah. No.
Yeah, you're in a booth alone.
I mean, you're a booth alone,
Killing some
exactly.
time,
No, let me edit this real quick. You're like, well, I got a couple seconds.
And
Real quick.
I don't think we've ever talked about that on this show before.
There you go.
But now we
There is a book by Marie Rainier Rilke called Letters to a Young Poet, and I recommend it to all my classes. Has anyone ever read it? It's about a young poet that befriends Rilke, and he starts sending him letters. And at the end of every letter, he would include a poem. And Rilke would write back, and he would never comment on his poetry. And this went on for months, till one day, the young poet says to him, "Did you read my poems?" To which Rilke says, "Yes." And they said, "But you didn't say anything." And he says, "Well, it's not for me to say." And he wrote back, "Well, should I be doing it?" And he said, "I can't answer that for you. If at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the morning, when you wake up, and we all do, and our minds are going at 1,000,000 miles an hour, I owe this, I owe that, oh my God, what's going to happen?" In those hours, when you're alone with yourself, if you ask yourself the question, must I do this? If your answer is anything than, yes, I must, there's your answer. But in those moments,
Two things
I suggest watching, strangely. One is Hearts of Darkness, the making of Apocalypse Now. And the other is, it came with a certain special, I think it's actually on YouTube. It's called Under Pressure.
That's right.
Under Pressure, the making of the Abyss.
Oh.
And both of those things are, okay, being an artist is like having a relationship with an incredible person where you enjoy all of this connection and you finish each other's thoughts. The sex is great, you laugh, your friends love you together, all of it. And it would be the perfect relationship if they would just stop having sex with all your friends.
That's why the sex is great.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of practice. But
Really?
serious, and the whole time all of that's going on, the other person is going, it's pretty great, right? It's great. Yeah. And you're like, it would be phenomenal if you would just stop doing that.
But there's also that little party that's like, good for you.
Good for you. You know. So, but the making of the Abyss is really about, because I think art in general is about how badly do you want it, and it is always trying to kick you in the nuts and going, well, how badly do you want it, and that could be anything from a bad review to, you know, having, I don't know what, bad reviews.
Yeah, you know, you guys remember the group, the Bare Naked Ladies? Yeah. So Stephen Page, Robbie and I went and saw the Bare Naked Ladies together. It was one of the best nights I remember. We had a great night. But Stephen Page broke up, and believe it or not, it's been 7 years since he was with them. And he has a new album out, and it's not new. It's last year it came out, but it's great because I read an interview with him today about it, and it's about artistry, exactly what we're talking about. And he said it's the process of artistry and how people, you have to get past this stigma that in order to be inspired, it calls for playing, watching movies, watching TV all day, reading books, hanging out with people, and not getting up 9 to 5 and going to get a job. That is what inspires you. These observations of the things that everyone else calls wasting your time. That is kind of what I teach. What I teach is this idea, which is step 3, which is have fun, is that middle class mentality says you shouldn't be a rock star at 70. We'll tell that to Tina Turner, Paul McCartney, Mick Jagger, and all these people that bucked the system and said, I don't have to go to work 9 to 5 because I'm going to follow what it is that I find enjoyment of. But the middle class mentality says, you can't have a job where you have fun. It shouldn't be fun. You should work for 40 years and then retire and then die. And that's called middle class thinking. And I bucked that system from the time I was little.
Yeah.
So just, yeah.
Fuck that.
Hey, I don't know if anybody noticed, but I'm working right now.
Yeah, exactly.
So again, you know, it's you do what you got to do, and you may as well have a good time doing it, guys. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. And that said, you know, people say to me, I hate my day job. I just want to be doing this all the time like you are. But as my mentor, this woman named Diana Castle, said to me, you do what you have to do what you love to do.
Exactly.
And
Well,
that changed my life.
And also, I would say that the tremendous amount of downtime that happens in this equals the stress
Yeah.
of having a day job.
Of course.
And
My wife does
sometimes
a lot of
even
drugs to put up with me as I
and then there's that.
Well, you know, good for you. Adderall's great.
Yeah. So you know, I mean, it's just a question of what you think you can handle.
Right.
If you can, you know, sometimes, okay, it stopped. Let's see, pretty much when I got Doc McStuffins, which is 5 years ago. What is that? 2011. So between 2001 and 2011, I pretty much survived making demos. I hardly did, I did voiceover work, but it was not my primary source of income.
Right.
And being an art person is like being an astronaut, because as an astronaut, you have to not only get used to the feeling, but you have to embrace the feeling of being in free fall all the time. And if you feel like you're falling all of the time, if you're not used to it and enjoying it, you're not going to get anything done up there. You're just going to be going, ah, all the time. Yeah. So, and that's true with art people. There's a point where we're just going to be in free fall.
Yeah.
Right.
And you have to go, part of it, yep, I'm going to land somewhere. I don't know where, but it's going to happen. And I think it chases a lot of people out of the business.
I think that for the most insecure business in the world, it tends to attract the most insecure people.
Yeah.
You know, it
Yeah.
just does. I switched over not long ago to this thought process of that, to identify with what you do is very dangerous. Meaning if your whole identity is wrapped up in what you're working on, you're screwed in this business, especially in this town. Because if you can't point to something you're working on, then it's hard to say, well, I'm an actor, because everyone says, well, what are you working on? Right? So that gets painful. But I have a friend, Dean Cameron, who you know Dean. Dean and I did a film together.
You know that he's one of my favorite character actors ever.
I did not know.
Yeah. He's in a movie called Bad Dreams.
Yes. Yeah. So Dean and I did summer school together back in 1987, 86.
With Mark Harmon?
Mark Harmon,
Okay.
not Marlon Brando, but
No, we'll get there.
Okay.
But,
Will
Dean
we
and I...
hear this, Brando?
Someday. But Dean is one of my dearest friends still. And he and I just recently, about maybe, what was it, 2 years ago now, maybe a year ago, we just said, everything that we seem to be doing is to put us back where we think we should be. If we stop doing what makes us happy. So Dean and I just started shooting our own things. We wrote our own things, we shot them, put them up on websites and stuff, because we enjoyed it, because it's what we wanted to do. But in this town, you always have to point to something. One of my biggest pet peeves, and anyone who's taken my class knows this, is that I go nuts with people on Facebook who wrote, just had my third callback at Sony, heading over to Warner Brothers to book another job. Actor's life, #blessed. It drives me nuts. No one ever points.
5 people in here who do that. I'm sure of it.
Because really, for me, I rarely see people going, paid all my bills, family's healthy, #blessed. Right? It's all about what we do. And it's really difficult in this city in particular to not attach our identity to what we're doing. And as artists, I think the true symbol of an artist, the true signature of an artist, is in how intensely you want to express. And that's as far as it goes for me. How intensely do I want to manifest an imaginary world into whatever form of artistry I just choose to do? Be it music, be it voiceover, be it acting, be it, cooking, be it woodwork, be it plumbing, be it anything. But I think that's the hardest thing to come, and I think that usually comes with age. I think you and I would agree we're about the same age, so.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I think we come to a
Well,
place.
yeah, and also we're dudes.
Right.
No, it's true, guys. Our work, our part of our self-worth is attached to the work that we do.
How we provide.
Yeah.
Wait,
My
we're
wife
supposed
has
to
starved for 6 years.
Oh, shit. You're doing it wrong.
It's a lie, son.
Yes. Bring it around.
Well, listen, I want to thank all of you. This is interesting because I've done, we'll say 35 of these shows.
35 years.
35 years. I've had a real range of people on here, and I think tonight has been the most philosophical conversation, but it's been really heartwarming to me because you guys are artists, and you're coming at this from the acting point of view and from a teaching point of view, and just from that creative point of view. And I really enjoyed this conversation.
No, me too. I did too.
I thought you were just an idiot.
I am an idiot.
I just thought you were just kind of ADD all the time.
But I am an idiot.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
am
yeah.
an idiot.
But then I listened to you talk, and I'm like, oh, they're smart too.
Yeah, well, and I know Marlon Brando.
And you know Marlon Brando. Do you want to tell the Brando story?
No, I couldn't.
Do you want to tell the
We're
Brando
only
story?
at one story.
Damn it, you guys want to hear the Brando story?
I'm not leaving her without it.
All right, here's the story. So, the story goes like this. You guys know where the Bookstore is on Laurel Canyon and Ventura Boulevard? So years ago, that was a movie theater called the Mann Studio Theater. Do you guys remember when it was a theater? Anyone? Okay.
No.
So now they put books in that little booth, right, in the front. Well, I used to sell tickets there when I was a teenager, when it was a movie theater. And I used to sell, and this is many years ago. But one day, I was promoted to concessions. So you move out of the ticket into the concession stand. And that's where you get to sell the popcorn and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
we know where the concession is.
You mean where the candy is?
Candy.
Oh, and the drinks.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we're good.
So one day, the movie has started. And I'm sitting there behind the counter wiping the candy display. And all of a sudden, this white 450 SEL Mercedes pulls up right in the loading zone. Right where that booth is.
Yeah.
And out steps this guy, probably about 300 pounds at this point. T-shirt hanging on the belly exposed. Hair down to here. Gray, like waist. Thick. Guy walks in. He walks up to me and he goes, "Fill me a tub of corn." Like, oh my God, it's Marlon Brando.
Oh, that was Brando?
That was Brando, So I scoop a tub of corn, and I look at him and I said, "Would you like butter flavoring on that?" Because we couldn't say real butter.
Yeah.
And he looks at me and he goes, "Yeah, slather some of that butter on there." So I slather some butter on it, right? And then he takes out a $10 bill to pay me for a $4 bucket of corn. And I look at him and I say, "Oh, no. It's on us. Please accept it as our thank you for all your work." And he looks at me and he says, "The person who cleans your house and mows your lawn is as important as anybody else. Take the fucking money." He takes his corn, he gets in his car, and drives it. I'm like, my God, I just did like the Wild Ones. Oh my God, I just did a scene with Marlon Brando.
The odd thing was, he was actually reading that off of a coupon. That's the weird thing. Ladies and gentlemen, the Brando